Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International. We are the better way to handle and eliminate debt. For 18 years, we've been teaching people how to read an amortization schedule, how to use technology to disrupt the bank's timing, which makes it impossible for them to charge you interest on your loans, cutting that interest cost way down. All right. So instead of paying retail for borrowing money, how about borrowing money at wholesale, cutting your interest cost by 75%? And if you want to grow your equity, you grow your equity 5 to 7 times faster. All right. And you're able, if you're a real estate investor, you're able to cash out, refi, use that money again 10 to 15 years sooner, which means you are able to take that money and make compound interest with it instead of the bank taking your interest money and growing their empire. Man, how would you like to reclaim some of that money? Well, most of that money, and then invest that interest money and make more money. Watch this now. Listen to me. You're going to make more money by reclaiming that interest money and investing it than all the interest you've ever paid in life. How would you like to get paid back on all the interest you've ever paid and make it a net zero win for you? My. So, folks, we have some people in here. We've got Kirk the Bank Barnes in here. We have Sovereign C. So we're going to go ladies first and say, Sovereign C, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very much. And I was wondering, did you have a question or comment about our topic today? Or any subject.
I'm actually not sure what questions to have, but I saw some of your information, was it last week, or heard some of it last week, and I just signed my first mortgage, so I'm looking for ways to make it more beneficial for me, and I thought that this would be the place to get more information after hearing what I heard last week.
Well, this is going to be the place because we're actually going to go over the benefit of not giving the bank all that interest money and what that means to you. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. And it sounds like you have, I don't know, a system or protocol, which works for me because I could follow directions.
Well, that is good because we do have education and we do have a cloud-based AI computing system that guides you like financial GPS, telling you exactly what to do, what month to do it in, what day of the month to do it on, and which loan to apply all of this to, so that you can we figure out for you the maximum amount of interest that you as an individual can save. How does that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
Excellent. So listen, I'm going to put my link at the top of the page because sometimes I just get so excited and get into the information. Sometimes I forget to tell people how they can get this information for themselves. So I'm going to put my link at the top of the page, and in case you have to leave early or something. So let me go ahead and do that. Pin the link. It's ICE10K.com. ICE stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. The number 10 and the letter K.com. There you go. And if you want to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you can save, you just click on that link and then fill out the information to get a savings and earnings report. They're absolutely free. You can get a savings and earnings report. How would you like to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you could save? But you can use your current budget. You don't need to make more money. And listen to this. Listen to this part. You don't have to cut up your credit cards. You don't have to eat beans and rice every day. You can live well while you're doing it and grow your savings, cut interest cost, And most of our clients pay off all of their debt, not just the mortgage, in an average of 7 to 9 years. Sovereignty, how does that sound to you?
That sounds amazing. I'm excited to hear about the plan.
All right, good. I got Kirk the Bank Barnes in here. Kirk, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, good morning, Don. But real quick.
Yeah.
What's wrong with rice and beans?
Listen, I love rice and beans, but
Okay, just checking.
but not every day.
Got it.
And not as the entree, the sides and the dessert. Listen, it can't be all of that. There's a guy out there that's promoting that we should cut back on, things that make life enjoyable. Because, if I'm only doing rice and beans, there is no curry goat. There is no escovitch fish. There is none of that, Kurt.
Yeah, Don, that is so true. But you know what's the sad part is, man?
What's that?
I went vegan about 5 months ago, so I can't eat any of that anyway.
Well, listen, if you hang out on our side of the street, Kurt, we have people who have been vegan and vegetarian for a long time, and they come up with some dishes that taste almost as good as curry goat and oxtail without the meat.
It sounds good, right, Don? But I don't know. I don't know.
All right, Kurt. Well, thank you for being here.
I appreciate you, man. I'm just here listening. Always like your knowledge and the stuff that you drop in the mortgage space. So I'm just here listening, Don.
Listen, I appreciate it. All right, folks, we're going to get started here in just a minute. I want to say good morning to Miss Veronica, who came to the stage. Miss Veronica, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing amazing. Good morning, Ice. Can I just say in just 5 seconds, sir, you got me excited. Notebook out, pen in hand, jumping up and down. I can already tell you are blessing us with your brilliant, brilliant brain. And I know that this is a free app that you didn't have to dedicate your time to. So thank you so much for your service. I can't wait. I've already shared the room in the first 5 seconds there. I have my questions, but I'm going to wait until your timing. This is your room, and I'm just humble and grateful to follow whatever order you want this to go, sir. Thank you for your service.
Well, I tell you what, Miss Veronica, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you have your notes out. But I found in the past that if you came in with a question, somebody else might benefit from that question. And I can tailor my presentation. I've got my presentation, all right? But I can tailor my presentation around your question. So let's do your thing first, since you're all excited. What's your question this morning?
I've got like 1,000 of them because I'm a nerd. This is finance, law, things like that is what excites me. But I'll just X one out of my 100. So someone taught me that he paid off his mortgage basically in 5 years. And he said that there was a law he found that says it's illegal for any mortgage company to charge us past 5 years. He found the law, he wound up winning the case, and his mortgage is paid off. But I can't find the law. And I'm a member of the American Bar Association. So I'm kicking myself. Have you ever heard of this? Because I can't find his contact information. And I'm so interested in all those little loopholes in the law that say that we're not really supposed to be basically paying mortgage past 5 years.
Well, listen, you know what I'm going to do, Miss Veronica? I'm going to defer to your expertise as someone who's actually gone to law school, who has...
Well, I didn't go to law. I'm a legal professional.
Professional.
I'm allowed to be a member of the American Bar Association, guys.
All right. So you're not a member of the bar.
I'm a member of the bar, yes.
You're a member of the bar.
They've allowed me to be a member because I'm a legal professional, because I own a notary business.
Right.
So they've allowed me to join as a member. Now you can join as a member as long as you're a legal professional.
Can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Are you pretty good at research?
I am, and I've been researching this law and I can't find it.
And here's what I want to tell you. Here's what I'm going to defer to your ability to be a member of the bar, to work. Okay. Do you work with lawyers?
I have not worked with lawyers. I work for Morgan Stanley.
Okay.
I'm on medical leave though right now because of a heart condition.
Okay.
But I do have access to them. I have to go to the groups. I just became a member last week and I've been all excited.
Okay.
So now I'm going to start attending their events and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you today. All right. And I
Okay.
think I'm going to be right.
Okay.
That if you've looked for it and you know
Mhm.
people who could help you to research,
Mhm.
chances are they won't find it either. And do you know why?
Why?
Because you probably heard somebody who was were they on YouTube? Or is a
No,
friend of
this
yours?
wasn't. No, this was a person I paid that did credit repair, and he showed me. He was exceptionally great
Mm-hmm.
at law,
Right.
exceptionally great.
Mm-hmm.
One of those people though that if you don't do what they want, they won't share their knowledge. So I don't like. That's the challenge for me. I've been having as a woman.
Right.
I love people that are brilliant, but I don't like people that will control me if I don't do what they want because I want some knowledge and information.
Yeah, like
So,
that,
yeah.
like that. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That right there. Okay.
Right.
I don't trust that any farther than I can throw it, Veronica. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And no, I have heard of it, but I can't find it either.
Mhm.
It doesn't exist because see, it's much easier to believe. It's much easier to believe that if I'm a mortgage company, we're going to go over the history of mortgages today. All right. And what's all involved here. And most people don't understand how involved this thing really, really is. All right. They don't know how involved it is. And once they find out how involved it is, that these mortgage companies do you know, and I'm going to get into this in a minute, but do you know that most mortgage companies don't make money from interest on mortgages? No, because they don't keep them.
Okay.
So Morgan Stanley, and you can ask them about what's called mortgage-backed securities.
Okay.
Mortgage-backed securities. Individuals and companies purchase these mortgage-backed securities as long-term investments from the banks. So the banks sell that to them at a premium. So you get a mortgage with Chase. Chase turns around and then sells it to individuals on the secondary market. Okay. So now we have investors who don't have millions invested. They don't have billions invested. They have trillions invested. And if there was a law out there that could get in the way of them having that mortgage that they just bought up as a premium to be wiped out because of a loophole, don't you think they would have studied all that by now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You. So we're going to go over the history of that, and I would never say never. I would never say it, but chances are it does not exist only because the whole mortgage industry that we have in the US is different from any other industry in the world. Because we're going to go over the risks that people who invest in mortgage-backed securities actually have to mitigate so that our system can continue. All right. So we're going to talk about that today. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I'm ready to learn. I've got my pen out. I'm just going to be quiet and take notes. Thank you so much.
All right. We have Mr. Anthony Edwards here. Anthony, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning, Dr. Don Iceman. How goes it?
Man, it's going extremely well. And we're going to be going over the history of mortgages today. And so I'm going to be talking about that, how it got started, and a lot of the information that's behind it and what it means to the American consumer when they get a mortgage. That's what we're going to be going over today.
I appreciate that, man. All right, cool. I'm not going to hijack the room, so I'll leave it alone.
Thank you, sir. But listen, anytime you have a question or comment, please let's have that question or comment. And listen, even if you don't agree with me, Anthony, please let's put it out there, because when we have a debate, everybody gets to learn. What do you think? What do you say?
I couldn't agree more. I just want to stress to you that I just want to stress to you, no one that I was around, they may have philosophical disagreements with you,
Yes.
but to a man, everybody thinks you're an amazing person. Everybody respects you. But, like in all families, people don't always see eye to eye. But it's nothing personal, and absolutely no one is saying that you are a scammer or a charlatan at all.
Well, I would disagree with that, Anthony. Somebody is saying it. I would disagree with that. All right. Somebody is saying
that
it.
wasn't my perception,
Okay.
and I never said that.
Well, I know you didn't, but see Stan Ellis actually said that the math that I'm using is misleading, it is faulty, and it makes him upset that when people talk about mortgages and use faulty math, it makes him upset and it makes him angry when people do that. So what is that saying? That's just not a disagreement. That's saying that the math is faulty, that people are being misled. Correct?
So I think that a part of the perception is the reality of the benefits may be overstated.
Well,
and I think that's where some of the pushback is coming from.
Exactly. But if you say that I'm overstating it, I'll continue to overstate it, then the people who are listening to it are being misinformed. I can't overstate something and inform them correctly. Would you agree with that?
Yes, no, it's a nuanced thing.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
Okay.
It's something that is so like two things can be true at the same time. And with this particular topic,
mm-hmm.
it's like splitting an atom.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to really get in the weeds to get it. And when you get it, you're like, oh, okay, that's why I have an issue with this.
Okay, well,
it's the way I look at it is sort of like phantom savings. Depreciation.
Yes.
When you depreciation, it lowers your taxable income.
Yes.
But when you go for a loan, it gets added back in.
It sure does.
Yeah. So it's like a phantom expense. It's not, it's got real world consequences.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on how you look at it, it can be very, very helpful. But it's a phantom. It's a very nuanced thing to understand how it works. It's
right.
So it might take people a while to grasp it.
All right. Well, here's what I have to say about that. Even though what you're saying is exactly true, but what I'm talking about is not a phantom expense. It's a real expense. It's a real savings. There's no phantom about it once you totally understand what we're talking about here in the P.I.L.L method. So once you get it,
so
go ahead.
Don, just to be clear, right?
Sure.
Equity.
Yes.
Until you sell your house, HELOC, refinance, you don't realize any gains.
Totally correct.
It's a conceptual thing until you somehow utilize it. Like
totally correct. Totally correct.
Yeah.
All right. So let me.
I can have a stock that's worth $100,000.
Right.
Or stocks that are worth $100,000, and those, until I sell those stocks or borrow against the value of those stocks, it means nothing. There's, we know well the story about like.
So
Bitcoin,
Anthony, would you be excited to know that that's not what I talk about? I don't talk about that.
Don, I humbly disagree.
Well, listen,
my perception of what you talk about
again, how to pay
off your mortgage faster.
Anthony, that is not what I talk about. I don't talk about paying off the mortgage faster. You know what I talk about?
What do you talk about, sir?
Paying off the mortgage cheaper.
Okay, cool.
Cheaper.
Paying off the mortgage cheaper.
Yes.
So, you know, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction.
Yes.
I appreciate that. It's not a problem. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna, you know, argue with that. Argue with you about that.
So
I
Anthony,
stand corrected.
here's the other thing I need to do. If we're going to talk about this, and I would love to talk about it with you because it's going to be good for everybody, and I'm glad you're here today because it speaks to what we're going to be talking about. If you can't see my numbers, it is not going to make sense to you because I'm going to be talking about something that's going to go totally against everything you've been taught about how this works. But once you see the number,
Don,
yes,
the numbers have absolutely nothing to do with the point that I'm making.
I know,
at this second,
but Anthony,
the numbers have nothing to do with it.
Anthony, may I?
Right now, we can have a conceptual discussion.
Anthony, no, we cannot have a conceptual discussion because what I'm talking about and what you think I'm talking about are two different things. If we're looking at the same thing and I'm describing it, then you can disagree with what I'm describing because you can see the numbers. But if you perceive I'm saying something, you can disagree with what you perceive I'm saying all day, and it's going to cause confusion. So when I talk to somebody about this, they must see the numbers so that we can talk about the very same thing. That's what I'm trying to say today.
May I please respond?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. All right. So, Don, what I said was that, you know, my perception is that you show how to pay off a mortgage faster. You corrected me and said, no, that's not what I do. I show you how to pay off a mortgage cheaper. So what we just did right there was we had a discussion about concepts, and you didn't have to show me any numbers for me to understand conceptually what you were saying. And what I'm saying to you, the crux of the matter, the heart of the matter, where we diverge has to do with a concept. The numbers are the numbers. Men lie, women lie, you know, the math don't lie. So that's fine. The numbers are the numbers. I'm not debating the numbers. I am debating the implication of those numbers. That is where the heart of my decision. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm speaking for me. And that's why I think we can conceptually have a conversation about what it is that the P.I.L.L method accomplishes and why I think the term phantom savings is extremely accurate.
And that's where you, when you conceptually misunderstand what I'm saying, you can come to that conclusion. And Anthony, I'm here to tell you, if I understood it like you understand it, I would be saying the same thing you are. Hands down. But you don't understand what I'm talking about because you haven't heard it in its entirety. So why don't we start there? All right.
So, all right. This is my question to you.
Yes.
Right. Before we get into the numbers, why don't we have a philosophical, conceptual discussion about what those numbers represent? What is the real world benefit? How does it impact our lives? What's the net effect of what it is that you're doing?
All right, let's do that.
How about we start there, as opposed to saying, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. How about we say, you know, all right, when I buy real estate, and I derive income from that real estate, you know, my net worth goes up. My, you know, I'm able to spend more time with my family. These are the real world implications that we're talking about. The numbers are the numbers.
No.
My property went up. My property value went up 10%. We get that. We understand that. That's not a problem. I'm trying to understand the benefit of the P.I.L.L method. I don't need the numbers to understand that.
Yeah, I'm trying to
tell me,
I'm trying to tell you, Anthony. You're asking
50%.
You're asking a question. I'm trying to give you the answer.
I'm just making sure I'm clear on what I'm saying. That's why I when but it's fine. You said you get it, so that's where I think the discussion could start. It would be a really good starting point, and we take it from there.
Okay, great. All right, so let's talk about it. So, folks, here's what we're going to do. All right, we got Anthony, a real estate investor, in here. While you're getting set up and looking at, you want to go to YouTube and watch what I'm putting on the screen as we talk. So go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method on your secondary device, and you'll be able to see what we're putting on the screen. So as we talk about it, it's right there. Boom. And so while you're doing that, let Anthony introduce himself and tell you about his expertise, because he's coming from a place of knowledge. Go ahead, Anthony, introduce yourself.
I appreciate that, Don. Thank you very much. Anthony Edwards, real estate investor. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Currently have 20 doors in the Midtown area. Been investing in real estate for the last 20 plus years. Held many a mortgage, paid off many a mortgage in my day.
All right. So here's what I'm saying. Here's what the benefit of the P.I.L.L method is. What we're doing here, Anthony, is pointing out what is actually happening when a real estate investor like you or even myself goes to the bank and gets a 30-year loan on a property. All right. So we are getting a 30-year loan on a property. And in this case, I'm putting on something I heard on Business Over Breakfast the other day, a $206,000 mortgage on a fourplex at 7.75. All right. And that's what we've got here. And the rents are $1,800 a month per unit. All right. The mortgage payment on this is $1,475.81. So already the guy's cash flowing on this, even if you count the taxes and insurance. He's making pretty good on this. So as a starting point, would this be okay? $206,000 at 7.75, and the payment is $1,475.81, and all four units are renting for at least $1,800 a month. Good starting point.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. Is it 206 or 260?
206.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. So when it was kind of like a Burr thing, buying it, rehabbing it, but he didn't over leverage it. He only took out $206,000. All right. So that's his long-term mortgage on this. All right. So now here's what we're talking about so the bank owns $206,000 worth of this guy's property. So can we agree on that?
Understood.
And he's buying it back from the bank monthly. Okay?
Complete agreement.
And when he's buying it back from the bank, the first payment on this is $145.39 goes to principal. And in other words, he's buying a little piece of his building back from the bank, and he just paid $145.39. Now he owns that part back. He's got that part back. But he paid $1,330.42 in interest to do that. Are we in agreement there?
100%.
Okay. Payment number 2, because every time you make a payment on this, then a little more money goes to principal, a little less money goes to interest. So payment number 2, $146.33 goes to principal, and $1,329.48 goes to interest. Okay. So that's payment number 2. Now let's see how the bank does this. So the interest rate is 7.75. 7.75. And so how does the bank use that 7.75 so that I borrow 206,000, but I pay back over the life of the loan, if I keep it for 30 years, 325,291. How does the bank make 7.75 create $325,000 worth of interest? And if you take a look at it, total interest paid as a percentage of that principal is 157.909%. The percentage of interest paid when you take a look at the principal borrowed is 157%. So if I'm looking at this as some real estate investors have talked to me, they're saying, why pay off a 7% loan when I could invest and make 16%? Now we're talking about concepts. Why pay off a 7% loan and when I could make 16 to 20% cash on cash return? Well, number one, it's not a 7% loan because you can't make 7.75 give you $325,000 unless it's amortized interest. So far, so good?
Absolutely, Don.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So conceptually, if I'm saying I can make 16%, but I'm telling the people that I don't want to pay off a 7% mortgage, would that make people start to believe that the mortgage that they're trying to pay off is at only 7% when they should be taking all of their money and investing it to make 16%? Would that be, to me, that's what's misleading.
So, Don,
Yes. We're talking concepts
that's
now.
not my talking point. We're talking concepts right now.
Right.
And that's really not my talking point.
Okay.
But
Well,
to defend the talking point that you just mentioned,
right.
to defend it
Mhm.
is just the same way.
Yeah.
And Don, I got to give it to you. You are sharp. All right. And I'm not saying that, like
to blow smoke.
To kind of like it's a backhanded insult. It's actually, you're a very intelligent man. All right. And I have a great deal of respect for your intellect. All right. But I want you to defend the point.
Yes.
That you just mentioned.
Yes. I can.
Amortization can work in multiple ways. It's not just a one-way street. So when we're talking about that, 16% could be amortized as well. And then we could get into depending on how you acquired the property and how much of your own capital you put into it. Your return on investment capital can be way more than 16%. Way more, depending on how much skin you have in the game and what that return is. What happens when you have somebody that acquires the property, no money down? Their return, and they make money. Their return is infinity. So it's not like
you're exactly right. But I'm just going by what I've been told. But you're right. I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. Nothing. Everything you say, I agree with. Everything you just said, I agree with.
Don, what it is like, I get what you're saying, but and this conversation, I'm willing to entertain it because I respect you. I respect you. I think you're an honorable, good man, and you passionately believe what it is that you're selling. I can't say that about everybody on this app. I like you a great deal, Don. You really, I really like, I could learn if I emulated you even more. I could learn so much more.
Okay.
So I'm not coming for you. What I disagree with is what your perception of the benefits of the P.I.L.L method.
Okay, so how do you see?
We don't even
let's
have
start
to
there.
go through the math.
No, let's start there. What is it?
We could. There's a shortcut.
What are the benefits that I'm saying that you disagree with? So I can either prove or disprove that. What do you think the benefits that I'm promoting?
I think I think the benefit that you're promoting is paying off your mortgage cheaper. That's what I think, the benefits that you're promoting.
All right, let's start there. If I could
And
show you that I can pay this mortgage off cheaper and I can prove that, would you then say that, oh, Don can really pay off the mortgage cheaper? I misunderstood you.
Don, literally, given this is why I say it's a nuance. You remember me using the word nuance? There's a couple of words that I used, and I used them on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The words I used are nuance and phantom.
I understand
nuance and phantom.
Mm-hmm.
These words matter, and they're to the crux, to the heart of our conceptual disagreement.
I understand that part. So let me reframe it. Let me reframe it. If I can show that they're real savings, I can pay this mortgage off really cheaper, not in a nuanced way, not in a phantom way, but in a real world way. Would that be okay?
All right, Don, I'm gonna say like maybe two sentences. All right. You gave an example with this quadruplex with the $206,000 mortgage.
Right.
If we presuppose in this scenario that there is no prepayment penalty, if someone won the lotto, they are not paying back $357,000. They walk into the bank to pay off the house. They're paying off the 205 and 800 and some change dollar mortgage.
That is correct.
That's what they're paying off.
That's correct.
They're not paying off a number on an amortization table.
And I agree.
That's not what they're paying.
But see, Anthony, I agree with that. Everything you just said, I agree with. I don't disagree with any of it because that's not what I promote. I'm not promoting that at all. I agree with you.
Don, actually, you are. That's the phantom savings. You're saving money for people
that's not
on
what
a table.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's what you're saving.
Anthony,
Don, it's not real money.
Anthony, I am not talking about that. I agree with you. How many times do I have to say I agree with you? So what? So what you need to ask me?
I don't understand how you could say that. That's what I've always heard when I.
That's what you've heard.
That's what I hear.
But that's what
multiple ways of attacking it.
No, Anthony. Here, let me help you here. Let me help you, bro. Let me help you. So if I say I agree with you, then say, Don, if I'm misunderstanding that, why don't you tell me what you're actually saying so I can know what's really going on here? Because I agree with you.
Don, why don't you tell me what you're actually saying so I can understand what's going on?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So let's break this down. Okay. Now we're moving the loan from point A to point B. All right. We're moving this loan from $206,000. All right. That's where it starts. So when I make a payment, I'm reducing how much I owe. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And every time I make a payment to the bank, I've got to pay them money because I borrowed their money. So would it be fair to kind of equate that to every time I make a payment, I pay the bank rent on the money I just borrowed? Would it be fair to?
That's a fair statement. I have no problem.
That's a fair statement. So every time I make a payment on, let's just look at payment 1 through 12. Every time I make a payment, I'll give the bank $145.39, which goes to me, but I have to pay them $1,300 in interest to get that because of how the loan is amortized, correct?
Yep. That's
Okay.
correct.
So in 1 year, if I add up all the interest, all the principal payments every month, so every month I give them a payment, I give them between $145, which comes to me, or $156, which comes to me. But every month I'm paying them over $1,300 interest every single month to move that loan from $206,000 that I owe them down to $204,190,194. That is what I would owe in month
Don, you're
12.
leaving out a key piece of data,
Uh,
and literally you keep doing it. A key piece of data.
What's the key piece of
And
data I
it's
just left
almost
out?
like
What did I just leave out? I'm
the
talking
key
about
piece of data.
paying off the mortgage here.
I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you that key piece of data you keep leaving out.
Yes.
Every single thing you say is presupposed on them holding the mortgage for 30 years.
No, it's not.
That's the key piece
No,
of data.
Anthony, I just agree with you. I'm not. Let's just say they hold it for 1 year. Can we get that off the table now? We're just going to hold it for 1 year. Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
All right. Okay. Because see, every time you bring up something, Anthony, I'm going to agree with you because you're right. You're right about what you know. But here's the thing, Anthony. I'm not taking my information based on what other people know and what other people have provided. Let me give you some context about what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this. In the early 70s, two doctors in Australia discovered that a bacteria causes ulcers when the whole medical community around the world thought it was stress. And how to treat ulcers was with surgery. And only two guys in the entire world said it was a bacteria and you can treat it with medicine. Nobody believed them. Nobody. Because they were saying, how could a bacteria live in stomach acid? So they come up with something new, but everybody was trying to use their view of the information to try to understand what they're saying. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. When I look at an amortization schedule, I look at it as being on the autism spectrum. I'm on the autism spectrum. So when I look at this, Anthony, I see it in pictures and patterns. I don't see it the way that you and other people have been educated to see it. I see it differently. So when I talk about it, I'm talking about something that's new and that has nothing to do with what you've learned in the past. So you got to let me finish. Because it's new. It's not based on old information. It's based on new information. And if it's really new, give me a chance to get it out there. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So here's what I'm saying.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. So I'm moving the loan from point A to point B. And in this case, I'm moving the loan from $206,000 that I owe to $204,191.94 by making every single payment for 12 months on time. If I make every single payment for 12 months on time, at the end of 12 months, I will owe $204,191.94. Correct or incorrect?
Correct, brother.
Okay. So if I do it the bank's way, they want me to give them $15,901.66 in interest to move that loan from point A, $206,000, to point B, $204,191. They want me to give them $15,901.66 in interest because every month I have to give them $1,330, $1,329, $1,328, $1,327, all these interest payments for 12 months, which add up to $15,901.66. So far, so good?
On the same page, brother.
So so how much have I paid that loan down by? $1,808.06. So if I put my calculator on the screen, all right, I put $206,000 in my calculator. I subtract 1,808.06. I subtract $1,808.06. If I subtract that, I get $204,191.94. That's exactly what I owe on this amortization schedule. So here's my question. If I give the bank their money, $1,808.06, I give them 12 monthly installments that add up to $1,800. My question to you, Anthony, is, do I have to give them the $808.06 in 12 monthly installments?
No, you don't.
If I gave it to them in one installment, would I be paid down to the $204,191 in 1 month instead of over 12 months?
You certainly would.
What would happen to every single one of these interest payments between line 2 and line 12? Would it cost me $15,901 to move my loan to $204,000, or would it just cost me $1,330.42 to accomplish the same goal? I want to move it to $204,191. Do I have to pay?
Clearly, making that one payment
Yep.
would accomplish the same goal.
And that's all I am saying. I can get the same goal. I can get the same amount of pay down for $1,300 instead of giving the bank nearly $16,000 to accomplish the same thing. So my question is, am I paying off the loan cheaper? In real money, not nuanced money.
Don, may I please answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Don, respectfully, what you have saved is money on an amortization schedule. That is not real money.
And that's not what I said. No, that's not what I said.
No.
No,
You said,
Anthony, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Moving it. You said by moving it from here
to here.
There. Have I moved the loan from here to there?
Yes.
We're talking, when we talk about here to there, line from this line to that line.
Yes.
We are talking about numbers on a table.
No, we're talking.
This is what we're talking about.
Anthony, get rid of the numbers on the.
We're not.
Anthony, get rid of the numbers on the table then. I want to move the loan from $206,000 down to $204,000. Will the bank charge me $16,000 in interest to do that? That's a yes or a no.
If you hold the mortgage
for 1 year.
Years,
no, for 1 year. For 1 year. For 1 year.
Don, what you're talking about, context matters. The $16,000 is only real if you hold it for 30 years.
Anthony, please stop.
Right?
Please stop. Please stop, Anthony, because you're right now.
Only apply. The table falls apart when you pay that mortgage sooner. So, Don, what I'm saying to you is, if I refinance in 10 years, did I pay the bank $16,000?
If you refinance in 16 years?
Yes or no, Don?
If
I refinance in 10 years,
right?
Did I pay the bank in that first year the $16,000? Yes or no, Don?
Yes, you did.
That's an absolute lie, Don.
No, it's not.
No, you didn't, Don.
Yes, you did.
No, you didn't.
How much did you pay them?
Don.
Anthony, then tell the people how much they did pay in 1 year in interest on this loan. Tell them.
Don, the interest is spread out over 30 years.
No, it isn't, Anthony. Everybody's
looking mortgage early. When I pay off the mortgage early,
Anthony, I'm not going to argue with you.
Disrupts the table.
You're exactly right.
The table gets disrupted.
You're exactly right. And we're just talking about, here is what we're talking about. You said down over 30 years. I said down. Let's take that off the table. Let's just keep the loan for 1 year. Let's keep the loan for 1 year and then sell the house. How about that? If I pay every single payment for 1 year and then sell the house, will I pay the bank $15,901.66 in interest? Yes or no?
Don, in order for what you're saying to be true,
yes,
you have to hold the mortgage for the full term.
No, you don't. I'm just saying for 1 year.
The phantom savings.
I'm asking you. I'm asking Anthony. Just answer this one quick. If I hold it for 1 year and then sell it, I'm gonna get rid of it. But I'm gonna hold it for 1 year and make every payment for 1 year. Will I pay the bank $15,901.66 in interest? That's a yes or a no.
In that context, yes.
Okay.
You will have paid that.
That's
in that context.
And that's
correct.
all I'm saying. Even if you keep it for 1 year. What if I keep it for 2 years?
But where are the savings, Don?
I'm not talking about that right now. I'm not talking about that right now, Anthony, because you're misunderstanding what I'm saying
cheaper.
there.
How is it cheaper?
Okay, now ask me, how is it cheaper?
You borrowed money.
Yeah.
You paid to borrow money.
Right.
How is it cheaper?
Where
are the savings?
Let me answer that for you then. Okay. Will it cost? Now I have $1,800 in potential equity. Do I not? If I pay it in 1 year like the bank wants me to, do I not have that?
Don, I want to.
Okay.
Right.
Did I pay the loan down by?
We're talking about two different things, man.
I understand that.
This is where it gets frustrating, Don. We're talking about two different things.
Okay.
Don, when I give that lump sum money,
right,
what you are doing is you are knocking down the principal, thereby jumping ahead in the amortization schedule.
Yeah,
that's what it's phantom savings.
Anthony, stop trying to describe my program. Stop trying to describe it because you can't. Here's what I'm asking you, looking at an amortization schedule. If I pay it down, the bank wants me to, will I pay it down by this loan down by $1,800 in principal? Will I pay off $1,800 in principal? That's all I'm asking. And what does it cost to pay it?
Don, you've asked it and I've answered it.
And what is it?
Don,
what is it cost?
Just to be clear, Anthony, it costs money to borrow money.
It does.
So,
but you don't have to. But
yes,
you do.
So you are paying for borrowing the money,
right? But
this is what you're doing,
right? But
what I'm saying to you is that what the whole P.I.L.L method comes down to, the schedule.
No, it doesn't.
It does
not. No, it does not. Please don't try to explain my program because you can't.
How could you say that, brother?
Because you have not learned what I've taught you yet. You haven't learned the P.I.L.L method. Okay. So you misunderstand what the benefit of prepayment actually does. When somebody prepays a loan, what is the result of prepaying the loan? You tell us.
You pay less interest.
You pay less interest. How much less?
It depends on how much you prepay it.
Exactly. So if I'm looking at payment number one, let's make sure I make this payment in January. If I give the bank $146.33 early, which is the principal payment on line 2, do I reduce my overall interest for however long I keep the loan by $1,329.48?
By disrupting the amortization schedule you did. That's all you're doing is disrupting the schedule, brother.
I understand
There's
that.
nothing, there's no secret here.
I
What
understand
you're
that.
doing is math, brother.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
All you're doing is disrupting their schedule.
That's all I'm saying.
We're not outfoxing them. It's not. This is Don. This is.
I never said I was
We are
outfoxing.
saving money on an amortization schedule.
Right.
You're disrupting. They plan. You came with a counter plan.
Right. Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I've ever said. That's all I've ever said.
But Don, and what I'm saying is that the reality is that's phantom.
Okay.
That's not real savings.
Okay.
Let me finish. Let me finish. For 30, if person A holds a mortgage for 30 years.
Anthony, you're talking out both sides of your mouth right now.
Don, just hear me out, Don. If person A holds the mortgage for 30 years, then everything you're saying is absolutely true. They could have saved the money if they had done the P.I.L.L method, if they held it for 30 years. If they don't hold it for 30 years, Don, then what we are talking about is phantom savings.
Then, Anthony, you tell me.
A disruption of an amortization schedule.
Anthony,
that's what we're talking about.
So you tell me, give me a number. How long can we hold this loan for? And I'll give you my numbers based on that. How long do you want to hold this loan? Not for 30, but how long do you want to hold it? Give me a number.
Don.
Just give me a number. How long we want to hold this loan before we sell it?
Don, listen, the conversation isn't going. The money that you're saving is on an amortization.
No, I'm not talking about.
The numbers you're going to give me are on an amortization.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking.
That's all you're giving me,
Anthony. I'm not just giving you that. I'm talking about are you actually paying something or you're not paying something? You just admitted that every time I give the bank money, I got to give them the interest. Every time I give them money, I got to give them interest. I'm saying if I'm going to give them the money, why not give it to them when they can't charge me the interest? Why can't I take control?
Okay.
Why does the bank have to?
I'm gonna net this, Don.
Sure.
Here's the net.
Yeah.
$1 today is the most it's ever going to be worth.
Here, listen to this guy. Here's
moving forward.
And I agree with you.
$1 today.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you disagree with that?
No, I'm just saying somebody online is saying this. I use the P.I.L.L method and I have saved and shortened my loan by 10 years. Here's somebody else. The question to ask is, what is
on an amortization schedule?
No.
That's what they saved.
No, they didn't just save, they saved real dollars. Okay? Because if it costs $15,000 to give the bank $1,800 their way, you can give the bank the $1,800 your way and not pay them the $16,000, Anthony. There's no two ways about that. There's no phantom way to look at that.
I have to go nuclear. I have no choice, Don, but to go nuclear. And Don, I've tried. Don, listen, respectfully. Don, I have no idea what you charge for the P.I.L.L method. Now, my question to you, Don Daniels, is if I were to, let's presuppose that you charge $8,000 for the P.I.L.L method.
Okay.
If I were to pay my mortgage down using that $8,000 instead of giving it to you for the P.I.L.L method, how much money would I have saved?
Okay, so what is the P.I.L.L method according to you? What is the P.I.L.L method according to you? A
method of paying down your mortgage cheaper.
No, but how do we do it? What do we do? How do we do it? How do we go about that?
I just dropped the $8,000 on my mortgage.
That's not
what line am I jumping to?
That's not what we do.
The $206,000 quadruplex.
Right.
The $206,000 quadruplex. And drop $8,000 on it. What line do I drop from and where do I end up to? How many years of mortgage payments have I saved?
You have knocked off. That would bring you down to line 48 on the amortization schedule.
So,
Okay. So let me ask you.
From where?
From point A to point B, you give the bank $8,000 up front. You paid your loan down to $197,848.95. That's where you would be. That's how much you would owe. Subtract $8,151.05 from your mortgage. You now owe $197,480. I'm sorry, $197,848.95. That's how much you owe.
How much time is that in months? How much time is that?
That's 48 months. That's 4 years. Okay.
So I have saved 4 years.
That's correct.
So what you're telling me, right?
Uh-huh.
It's by using your logic,
Uh-huh.
I can save more than that. I'll benefit way greater than the 4 years I saved instead of paying the bank, paying you that money.
Exactly.
Using your method.
Exactly. Because
okay, Don. I come out with my hands up. I give up. You win.
Because
I have nothing else to say. I rest my case. Respect.
All right. Because here's what we're saying. Now you tell me, if I give the bank this $8,000 all at one time, but let's see what would happen if I gave it to them every single payment for 48 months, Anthony. Do you know how much interest I would give them in 48 months? Do you have any idea? $62,000. If I gave them the $8,000 for 48 months, $62,000 in interest.
Don, you're making my case for me.
I know it. I know it because I'm telling you where I agree with you. And I agree with you here. I agree with you. If I give it to the bank in one lump sum, Anthony, do I have to pay the bank $62,000?
Don, you paid the bank $8,000.
Right. But
Don, we understand the concept of inflation. We understand that the dollar today is worth more than it'll ever be moving forward. We understand the time value of money. Don, these are all things that we understand.
Anthony,
we understand
the audience
cost.
Anthony,
we understand
the audience is getting it. And they're not agreeing with you. The audience here is not agreeing with you.
Don,
I'm just letting you know.
One thing I can say that we probably have in common,
yes,
is we march to the beat of our own drums.
Right.
Do you think Anthony Edwards gives a rat ass about what the audience says?
Oh, okay. Oh, I do. I care about what the audience thinks because that's why I'm here every week.
Yo, Don, listen.
This is why I'm here every week.
Who I am today. You wouldn't be who you are today. We have to do what we feel is best.
Right.
That's the only way we could live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Not because other people think we're wrong.
I got two questions. I got two questions.
I'm in your room.
I got two questions for you.
People that are committed to your process.
No, they're not.
Expect them to side.
No, they're here to learn. I've got two questions for you. If I make every single payment, here's what I'm buying. I'm buying the ability to pay my mortgage down by $8,000 doing it the bank's way. If I do it the bank's way, all right, I'm buying the privilege of paying that mortgage down their way. They want to charge me $687 just to pay my mortgage down by $8,000 doing it their way. Now you tell me, why do I have to do it their way? Why do I have to pay them $62,000 in 48 months just to pay my mortgage down by $8,000? Why should I do it their way? Can you give me a real reason why I should?
Don, this is all Don, we're chasing our tail at this point.
No, I want you to answer
Don,
my question. I've been answering your questions. I've been answering your questions all day, Anthony.
The only way you pay them the money you're saying is if you follow their plan.
Right.
Once you start making extra payments.
Right, Anthony.
Once you start making extra payments,
right.
you're disrupting their plan.
Exactly. I want you to answer my two questions. Anthony, I just want you to answer my two questions. Why should I pay them $62,000 just to pay the mortgage down by $8,000 their way? Why should I do that? Is there any benefit to me doing that?
The benefit depends on what you're going to do with that $8,000. If you're going to take that $8,000 and make $100,000, then you can let the bank have that.
Okay, I can let them have the 62,000. So if
you're going to take that same $8,000,
right,
opportunity cost, you have an investment where you're going to use leverage to use that $8,000. That $8,000 is going to get you into a bird that you pay $100,000 for.
Right.
You're going to put $30,000 into that property, and then at the end of it, it's going to be worth $260,000.
Gotcha.
Then yes.
Okay. So what you're saying is that if I take money and invest it, then I could make more money. Correct? Instead of prepaying the mortgage, I would take money.
Conceptually, yes.
Okay.
And Don,
I agree with that.
Keep on saying,
and I agree with that.
The time value of money, inflation.
And I agree with that. I agree with the time value of money.
Today is worth more than it's ever going to be worth in the future.
I agree with that. I don't disagree with any of it. I agree with that. I agree with time value of money. I agree with the fact that
opportunity cost, time value of money,
opportunity cost
eviscerates the strategy.
No. I agree with you. No, I agree with you. You're saying, Don, if I have some money, let me not overlook the fact that I want to be able to invest money and make long-term compound interest with that money. I shouldn't overlook those numbers. Is that what you're saying? I'm agreeing with you. Take money. Every real estate investor should take money and invest that money. They should. So, where do we disagree?
All right, Don.
Yeah.
Here are the three factors, and it's all good.
Okay.
Don, and I'm not knocking you for making a living, but the P.I.L.L. method isn't free. So we have the cost of the P.I.L.L. method.
Right.
All right. In today's dollars.
Okay. Listen.
Wait
a minute. Anthony, hold on. Wait a second. I'm not going to allow you to go there. You know why I'm not going to allow you to go there? Here's why. Because you would have to see my entire program, my entire presentation, and all the benefits that we provide, not what you just think it is, to be able to realize what the benefits of the P.I.L.L. method are. You can't do that.
Okay, so we'll drop that.
Okay,
but
because you have not, because you have not, hold on, let me finish my statement. Because you have not spent a dime with me. You have not spent a dime with me. You don't understand what I do. What you're doing is that you're assuming what I do and trying to come up with an argument. And Anthony, everybody sees through that. You can't do that. You can't come up with a concept or a premise that is not mine and then try to disprove it. You've got to know what I do. You've got to know what I talk about.
All I said is that there's a cost for your program. I didn't say what your program is, but isn't.
Now, then
I just said that there's a cost for your program.
And then you have to stop.
I didn't say
you have to stop right there, because now you can't make any other judgments or any other comparisons. Because you don't know.
There's a cost for your program is a wrong statement.
No, you don't know what my program is. And you don't know what it
There's
does.
a cost for your program.
And
I'm not saying, I didn't say your program is good, bad, or indifferent.
Then
I said there's a cost for it.
there it is. And that's all you can say. Because you can't say
That's
anything
all I
else.
said.
No, that you are
That's
getting ready
all
to.
I said.
No,
There's a
you're.
cost for your program.
Yes.
I'm breaking down the cost, brother. There's a cost for your program.
Right.
There's a cost. There's a cost to pay down the mortgage based on the information you provide the person with. That's another cost. There's an opportunity cost because you use that money.
Now, Anthony, here's what we're going to do. If you want to go through a presentation with me, let's get on a Zoom and I'll do this for you privately. All right. But here you're not listening, because you need to listen to the person who's developed the program, and you're not. What you're doing is you're trying to teach, and you can't do that in here.
Don, I'm not trying to teach. I'm enumerating the different ways you pay. That's all I'm doing.
Right.
I'm not teaching anything.
No, but
So,
you can't do an opportunity.
Don,
you can't do an opportunity cost calculation if you don't know all the benefits.
I'm not doing any calculations. I know that there's an opportunity cost. I know that there's multiple ways you can invest your money.
Right.
And
how do you?
And you said
and how do you
real
know
estate investors should invest their money? There's no disagreement.
And how do you know that the opportunity costs with me are not greater than anything else you could ever come up with? How do you know
I
that?
don't know that.
Then stop talking
and
until
I'm
you
not
do.
pretending to know that.
Then stop talking until you do.
Don, all right. Hey, Don, listen. The reason I came on stage, right?
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Don, let's talk offline.
Exactly.
You and I, you got my number, I got your number.
Let's do that.
Let's talk offline. No problem.
I love that.
But the reason why I came on stage, Don,
yes,
is that, I was told in another room that you mentioned me and two other individuals as making disparaging comments about you.
And I did.
And I wanted to clear that air. Yo, Don, I think you know that I didn't make disparaging comments about you. Me personally, Anthony Edwards. I think you know that.
Okay, Anthony.
And I don't have any problem with you whatsoever, Don.
Here's what you want to know. You want to know what I said, or you want to hear what somebody else said I said? I mean,
sure. I'd love to hear what you said.
Here's what I said. Okay. There's a guy who said I'm using fuzzy math, that I'm misleading the people by not telling them the truth about what happens. And for that guy, Stan Ellis, you said, I am Team Ellis all the way. That's what you said. And that's what I said you said.
Got it. All right. And I did say that 100% correct.
All right. So if he's wait a second. So if he says I'm using fuzzy math and I'm misleading the people, and you said I'm Team Ellis all the way, are you not agreeing with those statements?
My perception of what Ellis said, I have represented on the stage today. I believe it's phantom. I didn't use the word fuzzy. To me, in this context, it's synonymous.
No, he
Phantom
did.
and fuzzy are synonymous in this context.
All right,
so
Anthony.
I do stand on my word.
All right, Anthony, we got to go.
I want to be clear. When I was in the room, Ellis expressed respect and admiration for you. He did.
Listen.
So it wasn't just like throw Don under the bus.
Listen.
This wasn't I don't want to mention anybody else.
Listen.
This wasn't a discredit Don Daniels situation.
Anthony, that's not what happened. That's not at all what happened. He said what he said, but in the background, he's putting information up that says, I don't know what I'm talking about, because he cited something from the internet that was not true, and he put it up as evidence. So you're saying you respect me on one hand, but then you type something in there that says, take something that is taken totally out of context and using it to discredit me in the chat. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you respect somebody and then do that.
Okay. So Don, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apologize to you publicly. Hey, Don, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stood on somebody else's comments because I wasn't aware of everything that transpired. So I'm sorry for that, and I shouldn't have done it. And it was poor judgment on my part. And that's where I'm at with that.
I appreciate that. Let's talk offline.
Fair enough. Thank you for entertaining the conversation, Don. I appreciate you.
Certainly. We'll talk later.
And for those giving Anthony pushback, that's my guy, Anthony. And I'm not the troublemaker, right? No, but I like, one thing I like with Anthony, right?
Yes.
And down, I love your patience as well.
Mhm.
But one thing I love with Anthony's going to ask tough questions, right?
Mhm.
Whether people like it or not, he's going to ask those questions. And I like the fact that Don always stands on his answers, right? Don always have the reasons why he do what he does. And I love that for both of you guys. And it's also, for me, educational. So, I appreciate it. Sometimes they'll get a little bit intense, but at the end of the day, I think, it's no love lost. And I think at the end, it's all about, you guys educating the crowd. So, Anthony, I definitely appreciate all the tough questions you ask every fucking body. Definitely love that. And I definitely appreciate the information.
Well, listen, man, if we can't allow people to ask questions and challenge, then what am I doing here? You got to allow people to do that. So, Kurt, I appreciate you. Anthony, I do appreciate you, my brother. So let's get together offline, and so like you can fully understand what it is that I do. But let's take a look at this for everybody else who's looking at this right now. Okay, to recap what we talked about last week is this: the mortgage industry, the way you understand it now, did not exist before 1936. Before 1936. All right. So here's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Before 1936, here's what a loan looked like. It was an interest-only loan. This was a mortgage. You had to have 50 to 80% down. And the term was like 3 to 5 years. And they made interest-only payments. When the stock market crashed in 1929, here's what happened. Then people started to lose their properties, not because they couldn't make the payments, but because every 3 to 5 years, they would refinance those loans because there was a balloon payment. They were making interest-only payments. When those properties lost value, after the stock market crash, the bank would no longer reissue those loans. They said, you got to pay us all the money right now because we're not going to refinance you. That's how most people lost their homes, their farms, their churches, their property. Then here comes the federal government under the New Deal, under an organization, HOLC. They buy up a ton of these mortgages and reissue them back to the people, but they introduce a 20-year amortized loan. This was the first self-amortizing loan in the United States in 1936. It was a 20-year loan. The HOLC, which became Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, said, we need to get out of the mortgage business per se and developed a secondary market for real estate investors, for people who wanted to buy mortgage-backed securities. They bought the paper, they bought these loans, and you're wondering what happens when you get a mortgage and you get a notice that somebody bought your mortgage. That's the secondary market in effect. That's what happens. So when that happened, then the bank says, then the government says, we get our money back from people who invest in these loans. And so here are 3 things that the investors were concerned about. They were concerned about, number 1, default. What if these people default? Oh, Sharon Jones says, Don, what is a balloon payment? Okay, so here's what a balloon payment is. If I owe $80,000, all right, at the end of the term, let's just say I'm paying the bank money, and at the end of that term, I still owe the bank $80,000. The term is up, and I owe $80,000, that 80 grand is a balloon payment. I either have to pay them $80,000 all at one time, or I have to refinance the loan to give me more time. Does that make sense, Sharon?
Hey, Don, can I give an example so she might get it a little bit better?
Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, Sharon, like as an investor, you might come across a deal. I'm giving you like a real world example so you can grasp the concept. You might come across a deal with seller financing, right? The seller is going to allow you to not have to go to a bank, and he's going to finance you, but he's only going to finance you for a finite amount of time. He's not going to wait 30 years for his money. He's going to tell you, you can make payments to me for 5 years. And at the end of that period, you're going to need to give me a balloon payment. You're going to have to give me, let's say it's $1 million that you financed with him. And additionally, just so you can, to add another wrinkle, so it makes even more sense to everybody, what he can do for you is that $1 million, he could create an amortization schedule over 30 years. So it's not like you're paying the equivalent of a 5-year mortgage for those 5 years. You're making the equivalent of if you had a 30-year mortgage for those 5 years. But at the end of that period, you have to figure out if you're going to, as Don said, sell it or refinance or take from your reserves and pay him off. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And what most people do, they will, okay, if I owe that money at the end of the term, if I want to keep the property and I don't want to sell it, let me refinance so I can pay this person off in their lump sum. But I still get the long-term 30-year mortgage. Does that make sense, Sharon? Okay. I just didn't get it with that person, but I can get that eventually if I want to keep the property. All right. Yep. All at once. Yeah. You got to pay that person all at once. However you do it, you can do it with your money or you could do it with somebody else's money. And then you pay them the terms that you have negotiated. All right. So now here's what's happening, folks. So that once that happened, now we have 20-year mortgages in place. But guess what? We also have those people who have the mortgage money. When banks have mortgage money, when your credit union has mortgage money, when your mortgage company has mortgage money, they don't have an unlimited supply of funds. It's called a liquidity problem. How did they solve the liquidity problem in the US? Okay, they solved the liquidity problem by this. The bank has your mortgage, and then they sell it to an investor or investing group at a premium. And then the bank has more funds to reissue loans. How does the bank then make money? Because they charge the investor more to take the paper than they charged you. So you got a loan for $206,000. When an investor buys it, they pay more than the $206,000 back to the bank so that the bank can make money. That's how they make their money, folks. They make their money on that, and they make their money when they charge fees. So that's how it works. So the secondary market started to boom. So people in the secondary market, they're saying, what can you do for me? I got 3 issues here that need to be solved. What happens when the people default? So what did Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, what did they come up with so that the real estate investors would not be scared that the people would default? What did they come up with? What do you guys think? Put it in
mortgage insurance.
Mortgage insurance. There it is. So the investor says, okay, I don't have to worry about them defaulting. The second thing that is big in the US, but it's not big in most countries around the world. It's big in the US, but not in most countries around the world, is uh, people like to get an interest rate that does not adjust. They want a permanent interest rate. They want to lock that baby in. Okay. Most mortgages around the world do adjustable rate mortgages. They're not popular here in the US. So, what is the other thing that real estate investors who get these mortgage-backed securities, what are they afraid of? If I lock in this mortgage at 5%, okay? If I lock in this mortgage at 5% and the interest rates go up, then I'm losing money. And so that's what they're afraid of. So the interest rates fluctuating is what makes them afraid. And the other thing that they're afraid of is what's the third thing that they're afraid of? If I buy a paper that says 20 years or 30 years, I can get a certain amount of interest. What is the third thing I'm afraid of if I buy mortgage-backed securities? Let me put it on the screen for you, everybody. Is this. Let me put it up there. There. And let's move it over to here. All right. And let me see here. The history of the mortgage. There it is. It's on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. There is a whole science right here. Prepayment risk and the duration of default-free mortgage-backed securities. The mortgage-backed the whole industry based on mortgage-backed securities, they're afraid of prepayment because all the money that they're looking for, they won't be able to get if you prepay. So look at some of these formulas that they go through just to figure out what the likelihood is if they get into mortgage-backed securities, how much money they're going to predict that they lose through prepayment. Okay? And so here at the P.I.L.L method, when we're talking about this, prepayment is a real thing. It can cost the bank a ton of money. And most people who have a mortgage don't know what benefits they receive when they prepay. Should they give the bank all the money that they're looking for? Or should they try to save as much money as they can? Let me give you another example of what could happen when you do a hybrid of understanding how much money you can make through investing and what you could do if you prepay. So let's bring this up. Okay, here's a guy who is a real estate investor here in this area, and he's very, very successful over a number of years in real estate investing. These are just two of his buildings. And in two of the buildings, he has a mortgage of $2,236,376. Okay. The mortgage payment on these two buildings amounts to $14,696. $14,696. The rents that he's bringing in for these commercial buildings is over $57,800 a month. That's what he's bringing in. This guy read my book, somebody who is a real estate investor for years, savvy real estate investor. And here was his whole thing. I'm going to take my money that I make from my rents and I'm going to reinvest it. And the cost of the interest that I pay the bank is just the cost of doing money, just the cost of doing business, until he read my book. When he read my book, he gave me a call. He says, I want to know more about this, but here's my situation. Out of the $57,800 I'm bringing in, let me make this a little bigger, all right? So everybody can see. Blow this up just a little bit, okay? Out of the $57,800 I'm bringing in, my mortgage payments come to $14,696. Out of that money, out of the rest of the money that's coming in, 63% of the monies that I'm bringing in, $36,600, I'm reinvesting right away. Can't touch it because I know the benefit of compounding interest. I know the benefit of investing in other real estate, and I want to use that money to invest. He also has so many buildings that he has a fund where he's taking money and putting it away so that he could do repairs and maintenance on his buildings. So he says about 11% of what I'm bringing in rents, I'm putting on the side about $6,500. Out of all the rents that I'm bringing in, I put about $6,500 away in this fund so that I can do repairs and maintenance on my buildings. So he says, what can you do with this? I said, well, let me show you what an example. All right. Now my program is more precise, but here is an example of what we're talking about. All right. I have, this is just one of his mortgages. All right. So we're going to put that on the screen. Okay. One of his mortgages, and we're going to duplicate this tab and put it up. We're going to take this out. We're going to put in his payment of $8,000. This is what he's paying every month. $8,704. Now this is a long-term investor. $8,704. He has a 300-month loan because when you're commercial real estate, it's hard to get a 30-year loan. Okay, but so he's got a 25-year loan. His interest rate is 5%, which means his mortgage is $1,488,906.65. That's what he has. All right. So now with that, he says, so I gave him an example. Every month he pays this mortgage, he's buying a little bit of his building back at $2,500 every single payment. But look at how much interest he's paying each and every month. $6,203.78. That's what it cost to purchase this $2,500 to get his money back. The next month, he's going to give the bank his regular mortgage payment, and $2,510 goes to principal, and the interest cost is $6,193.36. Now, this is a real cost in real time if I wait till next month. But here's what I showed him. If you make your first payment in January, and Veronica, are you seeing this right now? Can you see my numbers? Maybe she can't. Okay. But here's what I'm talking about. I got $2,500 here in the first payment. And month two, let's say this is January's payment and this is February.
I'm sorry, sir. Please forgive me. I was listening to you. I'm just trying to multitask my son, my dogs, and you're hearing at the same time. But I'm here. I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay.
Take so long to respond, sir.
Can you see the numbers?
Yes.
Okay. What do you? And I know if you're busy, I understand. But do you have time to help me?
I'm gonna have to.
You can say yes or no.
But I'd like everybody else in the audience to join the stage.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Multitask. I'm so sorry.
Let's get together later. So here's what I was going to ask her. All right, and I'll ask everybody in the audience. This is February's principal payment of $25.10. Do I have to wait till February to give the bank this money? $2,510.64. That's a yes or a no, everybody. Do I have to wait to give the bank that money? Yes or no? Put it in the chat or come to the stage and give me your answer. Raise your hand, come to the stage and give me your answer. Okay? Do I see any hands raised? Let me tell. Okay. All right. Shanton said, no, you don't have to wait. Okay. If I give the bank this money, $2,510.64 in January, all of this money goes to principal. Okay. All this money goes to principal right here. I'm paid down to right here. All right. Del Garcia Stewart says, no, you don't have to wait. So I give them that money early. I'm paid down to here. I owe $1,483,895.79. Let me tell you what is really going on here, folks, so it makes complete sense. This is supposed to be a 5% loan. Let me show you what the bank is doing every single month, and then it makes sense. All right. They're taking 5%. All right. 0.05, multiplying it. I'm sorry. They're dividing it by 12, which gives us 0.00416, a bunch of sixes and a 7. They're taking that number and multiplying it by the balance. So the very first balance is $1,488,906.65. It's easier seen right here. $1,488,906.65. So they took that very first balance and multiplied it by this number. Let's see what we get. So we're going to multiply that by 1,488,906.65. How much interest will we have to pay on that according to this formula? It is $6,203.777, which means we have to round this up to 78 cents. Let's just see if we get the same number here. What? $6,203.78. So folks, this is not just one mortgage. What the banks is doing here is that every month there's a balance, you get hit with a charge. Every month there's a balance, you get hit with a charge. So if they see this number, we're going to use that same number. We're going to use that same formula, 0.05 divided by 12. Oops. Okay. We're going to divide that by 12. Okay. 0.05 divided by 12. We get that same number again. Now, when I make the first mortgage payment, $2,500.22 goes to principal. I owe this much less. So there's my new number, $1,486,406.43 now. So we're going to multiply this principal balance to get the interest payment on line 2. So we're going to multiply that by $1,486,406.43 equals $6,193.36. Oh, there it is. So folks, only this number, the $1,486,406 on line 1, can give me the interest on line 2. If the bank never sees this number, they can't charge this amount of interest. Are you following me? All right. So if I then say, listen, If I make my mortgage payment in January, I look at the February's principal payment and give that to the bank early, I'm paid down to line 2 in January. Here's my question. Does the bank now have to use this number to figure out how much interest I pay the next month? And the answer is yes. So if we did that to prove it, so we're going to take our 0.05 again, divide it by 12. And then watch this. We have a new number to divide, to multiply it by, 1,483,895.79. So let's multiply it by that. 1,483,895.79 equals $6,182.90, because we have to round that up. I get this number on line 3, ladies and gentlemen. If I give them that money early, then that is $6,000 I never have to pay the bank, because now my amortization schedule is being compressed. Payment number 1 is now touching payment number 3. All I did to get rid of payment number 2 was not an $8,000 payment, but a $2,500 prepayment. And here's what I've been saying all along. If you know what a DVR is, the benefit of a DVR is that you get to watch your television shows when you want to. And if you want to, you can skip the commercials. And the people who pay for commercials, they hate that. They hate the fact that they paid all of this money and you can DVR it and control when and how you watch TV. The investors that buy this mortgage-backed security paper, they absolutely hate it. If you take control of your mortgage, pay back the money that you owe in a way that gives you control of how to pay them back, and you can skip the interest payments. So if I give them this money early, I don't have to pay them the $6,000 in interest. So this is what I said to this real estate investor. Let's bring his stuff back up on the screen. He's putting $6,500 away every month into this fund. Guess how much money he's got in that fund? Over $100,000. So if something goes wrong, he's got more money than he needs to pay for something that goes wrong in his building. He's got over $100,000 in an account, in a bank account. That bank account is making 1/10%. Now, this guy he says, well, why does he have all that money in a bank account? $100,000 in a bank account to him is like pennies to you and me. Means nothing. He's got so much more in investments. He's making a lot of money. This is just 2 of his investments. So I said, to show him how he could benefit from this, what if you thought of it this way? If you add up all your principal payments for 1 year, you're going to pay your loan down by $30,699.86. If you pay it the way you've been paying it, you're going to give the bank $73,748.14 in interest. Okay? That's real money. That's real time. Real money, real time is what he's going to give the bank. I asked him, could you, if you wanted to, take $30,000 out of your reserve account, which would leave you still about $70,000, correct? He said, yeah. Could you take that money and apply it to mortgage principal and be paid down, give them this $30,699.86. Could you give that to them all at once instead of over 12 months? And would you be paid down to here in 1 month? He had to say, yes, I would be. Well, sir, if you could skip one of these payments, interest payments, by giving them one principal payment, what would happen if you gave them 11 of them? You would skip the interest payments between line 2 and line 12, giving the bank the $30,000. Listen, you owe them that money, but you're choosing when to give it to them so you can skip the commercials. Oh my gosh. So it's not a little bit of money. It's not phantom money. It's real money. It costs 73 grand to pay this loan down to right here, according to the bank. If he did it all at once, it would only cost him $6,203.78 to accomplish the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, when he saw that, he said, one of the things that people ask, well, I can't keep using up my reserve fund. I will soon not have a reserve fund. Is that a legitimate concern? The answer is yes, it is a legitimate concern. So how much money is he putting in there every month? About $6,000, right? Putting $6,000 in there. So I said, well, why don't we wait until you replenish your store? Replenish your fund. So if I take $30,000 out and I'm putting about $6,000 in every month, how long would it take to replace that money, ladies and gentlemen? How long would it take to put his $30,000 back? If I'm putting in, let me take a look at Yolanda says, Sells Michigan says it would take 5 months. So here's what I propose, something like this. It looks a little something like this, ladies and gentlemen. Every 5 months. So if he does that, he's going to make his just minimum payment, his regular payment for 5 months. So if he gives that money to the bank here, he's paid down to here. If he starts out in January, he gives it all to them at one time. February's payment is now on line 13 of the schedule. This is February's new payment, not line 2, but line 13 on the amortization schedule. So he's going to wait till he puts his $30,000 back, which means he's going to make minimum payments for 5 months. That's this month. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So does he have his $30,000 back in the fund? Let's go back and take a look. We're going to bring that up. So he's putting money out of the $57,800 every month. He's taking this money, the $36,000, he's putting in some investment somewhere. I don't know where, but he's taking 11% of what he makes and putting it into that fund to build it back up. So if he does that, if he's down to here, could he take another $30,000 or so? Knock off another 11 or 12 months? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where are we? He's been in this mortgage now for the first month. Then he made 5 payments, regular payments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 months. He's been in this, but he's already on line 28 of his amortization schedule, giving the bank the money he was supposed to give them, but he chose when to pay it. And look at all this money. So he's already saved over $120,000. Normally, if he were to give that bank the money the way the bank wanted it, it would cost him $169,000 to get to this point. He's already saved over $120,000 in interest. He doesn't have to give the bank to pay his loan down to here. So my question to you, people who are in the building right now, my question to you and all real estate investors, is there any reason to pay the bank $169,000 in interest just to pay my loan down by $74,000 when I could avoid it? I just need to hear from some. I just need to hear from you guys. Does it make sense? Stuart says no. Somebody teach the kids says no. Wallace, gang. So what are you saying, Wallace? Should we, listen, all I am saying is you take control of your loan. Stop letting the bank take control of the loan because of this. And I'm going to end it with some of these statements from the history of mortgages. Okay, I need you to see this. I need you. Thoris Birch says no, sir. Here's what's going on. I'm gonna scroll down here to where we left off before. Okay, we left off on page of this. I need you to see something. All right, Congress. Watch this now. Look at this. Congress's intent with the creation of Ginnie and the new Fannie and Freddie was at least in part to assure that the mortgage liquidity problems of 1966 would not recur. It's not about you and me. It's about keeping the mortgage business solvent. It's about keeping them liquid so they don't run out of money. Here's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Who's getting paid off of this thing? The mortgage companies are getting paid. The banks are getting paid. The real estate investors that buy your paper, they're just hoping you never prepay so that they can get paid. And the industry that insures all of this, private mortgage insurance, they're getting paid. Guess whose money fuels the whole thing? Your interest money. If you don't give them all of that interest, does the whole thing start to fall apart? Will they have to find some other way to do this? But right now, they're just hoping that you listen to people who say, you don't have to prepay your mortgage. You take that money and invest it somewhere else. And I'm saying, take money, invest it, and take some other money that's lying dormant and find a way to leverage that money so that you don't have to pay them all of that interest. Invest, make money, and save money, a ton of money in interest cancellation. Let's see what else that this article has to say. I just highlighted some things. In retrospect, the 1950s arrangement of deposit mortgage funding in the United States came apart in two dimensions. First, people stopped saving solely in bank accounts. They used to use money in bank accounts to fund mortgages. When people stopped doing that, then something had to happen. With liberalization of capital markets, increasingly used mutual funds, pension funds, and the like as savings vehicles. So people stopped saving in institutions and started investing in other vehicles. So what happened? Let's scroll down to here. It says here, in fact, given the growth of the mortgage market depositories, all right, let's get this off the screen. Okay. Depositories today have insufficient funds to back the entire demand for mortgages. Second, let me get this off so we can see the whole thing. Second, borrowers want long-term fixed rate mortgages The fixed rates protect them against rising interest rates, and the ability to refinance protects them against falling interest rates. But it makes the real estate, it makes the people who buy the mortgages, buy that mortgage paper, it makes them insecure. Okay? So let's scroll down. Let's keep reading. The US mortgage market is one of only 3 in which fee-free prepayment is widely available. In Canada, there's prepayment penalties. In Bermuda, there's prepayment penalties. In France, there's prepayment penalties. Practically every country except for 3 all over the world that provides mortgages, they hit you with prepayment penalties, except this country for mortgages. Let me tell you something. If the mortgage situation gets shaky here in the United States, because we love fee-free, we don't want variable rates. We want consistent rates on our mortgage. If that gets out of sorts, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? They're going to go to variable rates, and for most mortgages will go to variable rates, and there will be prepayment penalties for mortgages, and I know how to handle those as well. But here's what else is going on. So we're going to scroll down here. Okay, the future of American mortgages. The United States seems to have found a formula for offering favorable conditions and choices to mortgage borrowers, maintaining liquidity in the mortgage markets, and managing the risks of lending at fixed interest rates. The Federal National Mortgage Association, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac play a central role in this. The reason why other countries can't do it and this country can is because of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, which have an unfair advantage of borrowing money at a lesser rate than a company that is totally private. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are a hybrid that is government-backed private entity, a government-backed private entity. So it's a hybrid. They can borrow money at a lesser rate, which keeps this whole thing under control so that you can have fixed rate mortgages at a lower interest cost. I wish I had more time, but I don't. We're going to skip out on what we usually do, but I'll just say goodbye right now. And let's see, how much time do we have left? Okay, we got 30 seconds left. I'm gonna get more into this. We'll get more into this on Wednesday, but we're not even gonna do our outro, so I can keep this time under 2 hours. Thank you so very much for everybody for being here. We're gonna say goodbye. We're gonna say goodbye until Wednesday. Bye bye, everybody. In broadcast.